Hello, this is BlueStar, Defender of Equestria, and this is my afterthought review of The Cutie Re-mark. Man, was this episode weird, but I really kind of liked it. Although in some ways it was kind of a bummer too, but... Yes, my feet have finally been unglued from the floor. I can move. Yes, yes. Yeah, I must admit, couldn't help but try to do this format. Let's just say, in the future, this might be a little bit more... sophisticated, shall we say. But anyway, let's move on to the actual episode itself. Well, this episode started off with a kind of uninteresting thing. It's like, oh, Twilight giving a lecture. Oh, okay. I must admit, it was interesting that the Cutie Bar Crusaders were actually featured in this lecture, which, interestingly, will tie into a future video that I'll be doing. So, but of course, the big thing that happens during the lecture is, oh my gosh, it's Starlight Glimmer. No, quick, hide me, run. It's like she's finally stopped hiding in the shadows and she's finally showed her face in public. Surprised I thought surprised none of the other ponies noticed her, but I guess only the main six know that she's kind of a villain, but oh well. Anyway, yeah, that was kind of cool. It was the first time I've actually seen Starlight Glimmer in the whole season. Oh well. But anyway, it's like, so Starlight Glimmer makes a reappearance. Cool. But of course, oh my gosh, the really big shocking thing about her reappearance is when she breaks into the castle. You know, this really kind of makes a point of that, you know, I know it's the Castle of Friendship, but, they really should have some guards there. Let's just say, I'm in the neighborhood. But anyway, but I do have to say that, yeah, having guards was not going to work against Starlight Glimmer, but still. But anyway, we got some other interesting things about the actual lecture was that a lot of the other unicorns were there. The interesting is that a lot of these unicorns were quite old. I would have expected them to be kind of more, well, younger, because I would think that, you know, it would be appropriate to give a magic lecture to younger unicorns, but it makes sense that, you know, that there'd be older unicorns there too, and anyway, and of course, you know, all the background characters. I think Lyra was there too, so that was cool. But anyway, of course, the big thing is that Starlight Glimmer is in the Castle of Friendship. It's like, hi, Twilight, welcome home. Oh dear, I have to say that was actually kind of creepy. It's like she's literally in Twilight's home, and it's sad. Oh no, and of course she's up to no good, to say the least. It's like she breaks into the place, she tampers with the map, and we all get sucked in through time. Oh dear, it's like, I hate time paradox loops. They're so complicated. But anyway, oh dear, I must admit that the time paradox loop thing is kind of a little complicated, because, you know, the thing is that, wait a minute, Starlight Glimmer, you deliberately rigged the scroll so that when Twilight touched it, it would drag her through time too, and then drag yourself along with her? Why'd you do that for? That seems kind of strange. I mean, don't you think dragging along the one pony that might be able to stop you would be kind of a bad thing, but... Oh well. I guess she wants Twilight to watch Equestria burn. Well, that's not exactly what Starlight Glimmer wants. Starlight Glimmer wants her Twilight's friendship to burn, but not necessarily Equestria. I mean, that's sort of like with Sunset Shimmer. I think that's why she's so easily redeemed at the end. That she's not really that evil to begin with. It's like she's just wrong. You know, she's hurt. She's a little upset. She's wrong, but she's not like, I have come to take over the world, or anything of that nature. She's just really upset about what happened to her as a little filly, and oh dear, I can't focus, I tell you. But anyway, yeah, I mean, oh dear. The one thing I do have to say about this video is I'm not being drawn into the time paradox stuff. I tell you. Because the interesting thing is that these worlds are interesting, but in terms of the bigger story, they're kind of irrelevant. Sorry. Particularly because at the end of the story, obviously all the time paradox alternate future things go away, so they're irrelevant. Kind of like in the season 4 premiere, where it's like, the thing with Nightmare Moon is like, well, that was kind of interesting, but it didn't really help us all that much, so, But anyway, oh dear. So, yeah, I mean, the thing that, I will say, they were very interesting, but They were just so sad. They really were. It's like, I will comment on, I think, the first future with basically Equestria in total war mode is basically the true nightmare scenario of all the characters. Fluttershy has to basically shear sheep to make military clothing. Rarity has to make military clothing, which is all the same and all identical. It has no style or anything. This is pretty much the last thing that they would want to do. The Apple family has to basically mass produce apples and basically not give them love and attention and care. It's basically, and obviously Pinkie Pie and Rainbow Dash are off fighting the war. So obviously, this is pretty much the worst thing that could happen to any of these ponies. And Rainbow Dash had a prosthetic wing and she was missing part of her ear. oh no, poor Rainbow. Oh dear. Oh dear, but yeah, I mean, that was kind of cool. I will have to say is that, yeah, the Royal Guard got to fight! Yay, 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 yay! Unfortunately, they didn't exactly get to do very well, but I do have to say that I don't think Equestria was meant to be winning this battle to begin with. But I would have liked to have seen them win a little bit, but oh well. At least they tried. We did our best, I tell you. We always do our best, but it's just never enough. No one can win against the power of the writers. Well, and then the other nice thing is Celestia did, in fact, actually get to fight a little bit. And much more importantly, she got to show that, where would Celestia be in the scenario of Equestria being in total war? Would it be safe at home in her castle and just ordering the guards to go off and fight? No. She's on the front lines fighting alongside her troops. This is why I love you, Princess Celestia. You're awesome. Yes, 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 yes. I would be proud to fight alongside you, Princess Celestia. Yeah, I mean, that was cool. I mean, it was, yeah. I almost like to think that Celestia, actually the Crystal Empire ponies laid this ambush knowing that Celestia was going to go help her guards. But I don't think that's true. It looks like Celestia's just kind of, she almost looks like she's wandering around, lost and kind of like, what do I do? Where do I go? But, she is very strong in that scene, but I think that was just cool. But yeah, I mean, all these alternate worlds were kind of interesting, but ultimately, again, are irrelevant in terms of the bigger story. But, but at the same time, I probably will do a video where I just sort of ramble on about, what do I think of this world? Maybe how this could be possible, and blah, 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 and all that stuff. But for the purpose of this video, I'm not gonna do that. So anyway, yeah, because otherwise this will be like a 40-minute video, and I don't want to do that. Oh dear. Oh. But anyway, yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, it was kind of confusing at first because at first it just seems like, well, wait a minute. If someone snapped their fingers and the main six had never been friends, well, what would happen to Nightmare Moon? Wouldn't the first obvious thing that the Nightmare Moon would have not have been defeated and she would have taken over and all that stuff? Again, this is really a topic for another video, but yeah, but after seeing a few of these alternate worlds, it's like, okay, it's obvious what they're doing. It's like, okay, we're gonna pretend that villain A won, and what would have happened if that villain had won? And we're gonna just simply ignore all the other issues that might or may not result from that, because, well, let's face it, changes in the timeline are a complicated thing, because the main six have not just simply defeated the supervillains, they've done a lot of other things too. So, but again, that's definitely a topic for another video. So, it's like back to the main story. Well, I mean, interestingly, there were a couple funny things though that I, these scenarios are obviously really bad. It's like I couldn't help but comment on this. It's like, things are bad when the element of kindness says that you have to die. That's so terrible, but it was also kind of funny too. But I kind of like that. So it was really cool to see all the supervillains come back and everything, especially Nightmare Moon. It's like she gets scarier every single time we see her. Oh. But anyway, yes, let's go back. Let's actually go to the forward, skip to the part with, Starlight Glimmer and Twilight, because that's ultimately what this episode is really about. It's about Twilight and Starlight Glimmer basically, working this out. Well, sort of, when they're not trying to blast each other into a pulp. A rather sad thing that I thought about this. So wait a minute, Twilight. You mean you only tried to, work this out with Starlight Glimmer because you couldn't beat her into a pulp? Oh no! That's kind of sad when I think about it that way, but okay. Yeah, and unfortunately, it's like, Silver Quill definitely hit upon a very interesting point, was that, oh dear, this is kind of about ego. I mean, it's a classic thing in children's television. It's like, you are the most important person in the entire world, and the world can't go on without you. Well, that's not the way the world works. Not at all. Oh dear. And yeah, I like to call this the Master Chief Complex, which interestingly Master Chief does not actually have. And it's basically that you are the most important pony or person in the entire world, and we can't possibly win this fight without you. Really? It's like, I love Master Chief. He's awesome. But he's just one guy. He can't fight the whole war by himself. Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's as important as the basics are. They're just 6 ponies, I liked Silver Quill's idea of, well, okay, maybe some pony else would have defeated Nightmare Moon, or, maybe somebody else would have stepped in to help save the Crystal Empire and all those things. I mean, yeah, maybe Celestia would have to sacrifice herself to defeat Chrysalis, and bad stuff would happen, but, it's not like Equestria would literally fall apart without the main 6. I mean, it's one of those things of, it's cool and it's not cool at the same time, but, ignoring that because, well, I'm just going to ignore that because I want to ignore it, but I guess that's, this is sometimes why I don't really like watching the analysts sometimes. Sometimes, we'll just take it too seriously, but at the same time, it's a good point, but anyway. But let's move on. I mean, obviously the big question is, I guess, was Starlight Glimmer's redemption too easy? And the other is that, was this really a good enough motivation for Starlight Glimmer to turn to the dark side? Answer the quote, both of these questions is sort of, I guess yes and no, sort of. I mean, because, was Starlight Glimmer's redemption too easy? Maybe. Because, well, again, she's not really an evil character. She's just hurt and wrong, and she just needs Twilight in a way to say to her, you can make friendship work. This can work for you. I do have to say that Twilight is essentially saying that, if stuff like this happens to your friendships, it's up to you to, work through it. She's politely saying that. Because, well, unfortunately, a lot of the other reviewers have definitely pointed out that, this motivation of Starlight Glimmer, it's like, oh, your friend moved away, is really not that big of a deal. I mean, I understand this because this kind of happened to me. I mean, my friends didn't actually move away. They just went to a different school than me, and, and I just sort of stopped talking to them and stuff, and because, well, it's kind of hard to talk to someone when they don't even go to the same school as you, but, unfortunately, it's one of the things that showed that, I really was as good of friends with them as I would have thought, and, oh dear. So, yeah, I mean, but at the same time, this is a perfectly understandable situation for a child to be in. I mean, it's just especially in the case of, this person got sent to a different school than me, and I stayed here. Darn. That wouldn't be depressing, to be honest. But you know what? But still, it's like, this is not, but it's not exactly the same deal as some of the other things. There's far worse things that could have happened to Starlight Glimmer. But yeah, I mean, dear. But at the same time, I definitely understand how Starlight Glimmer feels. And, it's like, uh-oh. This would be one of the few times I actively curse during this. It's like, yeah, because when Starlight says, it's like, you want to know what happened to me? It reminds me of a line from Babylon 5. Oh, dear. It's like, what do you know about hell? Would you like me to show it to you? It's like, mine and hers. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely what I get the feeling from Starlight Glimmer when she's saying that. Oh, dear. But yeah, I mean, but at the same time, you know what? Just like with bullying, some people respond to these things differently. Some people will be like, oh, it wasn't that big of a deal. Some people will really take it hard. I mean, like, I was bullied, it's like, I basically wanted to go sit in a corner and not really want to do anything with anybody, to be honest, but... which is obviously not the right way to respond to that. But yeah, but I can understand how Starlight Glimmer would take this one thing that may not seem a big deal to anybody else, but be a big deal to her, and would be like, cutie bugs are terrible, cutie bugs got my best friend away. And again, this is why Twilight just has to say to her, well, you know what, that's silly, you can't do, that's not true. When stuff like this happens, you have to be the one to, maintain your friendships and everything. And we're gonna be your friends. We'll help you. It's like, we're not going to abandon you. But, still, I still like what they were trying to do. And it was still pretty emotionally satisfying to see Starlight Glimmer and the main six, you know, and being all friends and happy, and just, it's just so touching. I think I've kind of noticed that, is that, you know, when I stop and think about these episodes, they're not as good as I first thought they were, but regardless, they're still really emotionally satisfying, and I like it a lot. And I definitely like this episode, and I do like what it was trying to do. I mean, you could still make a pretty good case that this episode might have been possible to do within maybe just one, as a one-parter, instead of a two-parter. But I still overall really like this episode, and in some ways, again, you know, the alternate world stuff is kind of irrelevant in terms of the main story. It's not really pushing it along, but it's still really interesting. It definitely is going to fuel a lot of fan fictions and stuff and everything. I might have some fun with that in the future too. But anyway, so overall this episode was still really good. I did like the song at the end. I gotta admit, it's not the greatest song ever. And in some ways, it kind of doesn't feel like it belongs there. It feels sort of out of place in some strange way. But overall, I still really liked that song, and it was really cool, and I enjoyed it, and it was nice, and it puts a smile onto my face, and it makes me happy, and it still kind of makes me feel like there's hope for us yet, even for ponies like us. And I do think that was a pretty cool way to end Season 5. But yeah, I mean, I do have to agree with Silver Quill, is that in a season where, in a way, it's the background ponies and all the other characters that have shined, it was kind of odd to have this episode that was really about the main six, per se. But at the same time, it was one of these background characters, quote-unquote background character, or a secondary character that got redeemed and everything, so maybe it fits in line with that too, so that's pretty cool. I mean, I will comment briefly, it's like, I'm not so sure about, what's next for Starlight Glimmer. It's like, it appears that, you know, from unofficial things I've heard, is that she may become a member of the main six, which means this will be the member of the main seven now. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about that, to be honest, but again, we shall see, but, I do think Starlight Glimmer is going to be coming back as a fairly important character. Whether she's going to be one of the main six, main seven, or whatever you want to call it now, I'm not so sure, but I do think that she's going to be a fairly important character, that she's not going to go away. But anyway, so overall, I really liked this episode. It was cool, it was interesting, and it certainly is going to give us all a lot of to think about in the future. And it was just so nice to see Starlight Glimmer be redeemed. I just love happy endings. So, I guess that is the end of my AfterThoughts review of The Cutie Re-mark. I guess I've got a lot more work to do on my other videos, so... But anyway, be looking forward to seeing you again next season. Until next time, this is BlueStar. Stay strong and pony on. BlueStar out.